No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now with Dave Manouk. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets getting their second victory in a row against overmatched competition, defeating the Chicago Blackhawks by a 4-2 margin in the afternoon affair in the Windy City. The Winnipeg Jets will quickly hop on the plane, be back in their warm beds before probably 11 o'clock tonight, maybe, somewhere around there, and get ready to play the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow late afternoon. Dave M., how have you spent the last 6.5 hours? Were you productive? Were you useful? It's only not that long ago that we finished this morning's Illegal Curve hockey show. I hope you used that time wisely in preparing for tonight's Illegal Curve post-game show.
Well, I got outside, Drew. I did some
beautiful day.
I tried to enjoy some weather. Went for a nice little walk this afternoon through the Assiniboine Park. That was kind of nice.
It's beautiful.
But other than that, I'm trying to think. I visited my Baba and Zeta, so that was kind of nice. Had the chance to catch up and see my Baba.
Yeah.
That was always good. Well, my Zeta too, of course. So that was always nice. And wasn't a lot much time though between the time I finished doing the show, doing some things around the house, and then of course getting right back into this game at 3:00 to watch the Jets become the first team in the NHL to hit 20 wins on the season. I know there was a lot of consternation in Jets Nation, but this Jets team is still a pretty good hockey team. 2 wins do not make a streak, as Drew would correctly tell me.
That's
but
correct.
They are on their way to returning to form a little bit more. And, like I said, that was there's some definitely some things that are still going on that you don't like to see. But overall, the Jets are starting to get the good feelings. The joy is slowly returning to Joyville.
Yeah, trending in the right direction. And, we talked about it this morning on the Illegal Curve hockey show that this game, tonight's game against the Chicago Blackhawks, the Blackhawks just aren't a very good team. We talked about that. And today's game the Jets were going to have to be able to keep their structure, keep the game in a way being played in a way that they want to play it. If they start to, fall into some bad habits, play Chicago's game, then the Jets could potentially be ripe for an upset. But today the Jets showed in the last 40 minutes of this game in particular, the maturity. That's what you saw from the Winnipeg Jets tonight, is a mature team who knows how to win a game with no panic whatsoever. Twice, again, remember, this is 2 games in a row now where they've been down by a goal on 2 different occasions. Same thing happened in Buffalo on Thursday night, and the Jets came back. They stayed within their structure. They stayed within their approach, and ultimately they come out on the winning side of the ledger, a sign of a mature team that doesn't blink, doesn't panic in the face of 1-goal deficits, twice in that first period. And that's what you want to see from this Winnipeg Jets team, because they simply, Chicago was just overmatched for the final 40 minutes of today's contest, generating a whopping 6 shots on goal over the last 40 minutes is what Chicago did, which is just incredibly terrible. That's hard to believe that even by accident, you can't get more than 6 shots over 40 minutes of play.
Well, yeah, there's no question about they didn't have a shot in the second half of the second period. And that was, an indication to me that Chicago, we talked about it on this morning show, Drew, this idea of would they get the, I don't think it's appropriate to say dead cat coach bounce, but fired coach bounce.
Dead cat.
I know it's dead cat, but PETA will
start. Coach is not appropriate, Dave.
Well, dead coach, dead cat. PETA doesn't like it if we start using that type of that language, Drew. But at the end of the day, the Chicago team, while in some regards better, their special teams look better. Their special teams, you can see, were able to hold, still a pretty good Jets power play even without Nikolai Ehlers. Although you can see the impact of not having Nikolai Ehlers on the power play for sure.
Right,
for the
Mr.
Jets.
Zone entry himself. The Jets are having trouble setting up.
That's right. But from with all other, looking at the rest of the team, I mean, first of all, kudos has to go out to the Adam Lowry line. I thought again the captain was really imposing physically his will. The line mates as well were really using their legs and using their physicality, I thought. But I thought the first line also was aggressive, going after pucks and stuff like that. So,
well, to your point there, Dave, there were shifts in the last 5-6 minutes of the game, sort of before Mason Appleton scores the empty netter. Spoiler alert, by the way. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, true. You got to tell people that.
Yeah. Between the time when the Jets take the lead in the third period and the time that they get the empty net goal to salt the game away, the Jets just had shift after shift after shift.
Relentless.
And it was where they just demoralized their opponent. Not that Chicago had a lot going for it at any point in time anyways. But when you can't get out from behind your own net, it's one thing to be able to not be able to clear outside of your blue line. But when you can't even clear the puck from behind your own net, that's what you saw from Chicago. You just saw the Jets roll line after line after line of more skilled, more talented, more structured, more impressive players than the Blackhawks had available to counter the Jets. And that's why you ended up with the one-sided total, the one-sided performance that you saw, even if it wasn't necessarily as one-sided on the scoreboard.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And it's funny because there were a number of instances, Drew, where you could point to that and say it happened throughout the course of this hockey game, but specifically in that third period where Velarde and Scheifele behind the net were just hammering the Hawks, and they couldn't. You're right. Like you think, okay, well, they'll just rip the puck around and at least get it out of the zone. They couldn't. They were just, I used the word already, relentless, and they never gave up on pucks. And there was one instance where Kyle Connor's defense on the second Hawks goal, not the best, but we'll get into that in the play now game recap. But like I said, we wanted to see that the Jets could impose their will on a team. Remember, we haven't really seen the Jets play a bottom feeder team in a while. And so here's an opportunity for them to say, okay, are we going to play that same style that we've played throughout the course of the season? Or are we going to kind of revert to what we had done last year, which of course we didn't have success doing. So, well, they did have success. They were a 110-point team and 50 wins, right? So they did have some success last year, but you know what I mean, Drew, the things that didn't lead them to be successful overall. And so we were able to see that, like I said, it wasn't a particularly low, like a high event game. No, I think high danger chances.
Again, I think what the Jets want, for the record, I don't think they wanted this to be. I mean, sure, the Jets wouldn't have minded having more high danger chances, but I think they're fine just having it being a very simple. They want to play the prototypical boring road game,
which it was. It was for, and again, it was that for the first. I mean, look, shots in the second period, in the first 10 minutes were 3-1 Chicago.
Yeah. You know what the high danger chances were in the course of this game? You mentioned high danger. Just
well, I can tell you, I'm pretty sure after 40 minutes, it was like 5-1, maybe.
Yeah, 6-1 after 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the Jets another 6-1. So 12-2 were the high danger chances. Yeah. So Chicago had 2 high danger chances at 5-on-5. Forget about the power play goal, which we'll get into momentarily in the play now game recap. Yeah. But you're talking about a 12-2 difference in terms of the high danger chances at 5-on-5. We spoke about that. That's what we talked about. We said this Blackhawks team cannot perform at 5-on-5. We said their special teams aren't bad, top half of the league on both the PK and the power play, but to be as horrendous 5-on-5 as they are, really speaks to something being rotten within that organization right now. It's been rotten there for a while, of course. Good thing, though, folks. Don't worry. It's a good thing the NHL chose them to be the hallmark, the marquee team in the Winter Classic on New Year's Eve this year, because who doesn't want to get excited and sit around for the Blackhawks, the Blues, New Year's Eve? Well, I know I'm canceling my plans to watch that piece of crap game, but from Wrigley Field nonetheless.
I will say, though, and I think we've had this conversation before, unless the team that you cover or follow, does anybody actually care about these games anymore? I really don't think so. Like, they used to be kitschy, they used to be fun, they used to be unique, they used to be limited. And now I just don't think, and again, we're not going to start making this about that, but I just don't think people really even, I don't know that if your team isn't in it, you even are aware of the half the time. Like I remember felt like in the last,
that might be the truth for most NHL games, unfortunately.
Fair. That's true. Well, I mean, I don't think that's an untrue statement, Drew, but I would specifically say that the outdoor games, which are always billed as this, bonanza. And so, the league is paying attention. It's like, no, again, it's typical NHL thinking that they're bigger than they are. It's like, no, regionally people are paying attention. Chicago folks will pay attention. St. Louis folks will pay attention. No, they will. But the truth is that nobody outside of those two markets, sadly, will pay attention because it's not a unique spectacle other than the occasional choosing of a new venue. But even that's, again, if it's in a baseball stadium, a football stadium, who really cares?
Right. I agreed wholeheartedly. I mean, it's we digressed to our usual criticisms of the NHL, but no criticisms coming to the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe the way they started the game. So why don't we delve deep?
Well, Drew, you got to give a shout out.
Okay, the anthem singer, sure.
Yeah, isn't his name Cornelius?
Yeah, no, Cornelson.
Yeah.
I apologize. I know it's Jim.
Well, after my Luke Luck mishap this morning, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, I think it's Cornelison, maybe.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Cornelison. You're right. So
yeah.
I apologize. Woo! Anyways, yes, he does a great job always as singing the anthems. That's the best part of going to a game in Chicago as of late has been the anthems in Chicago, which are always a unique experience, albeit maybe in a less than full arena as they've been playing in front of as of late.
I was going to say, as I wrote Drew in the pregame report on illegalcurve.com, it is no longer the Madhouse on Madison.
No, not so much. Not until they give their fans something to cheer about, which seems to be a ways away, as the case may be for the Chicago Blackhawks fans. Let's get into the goal-by-goal recap on this Saturday night edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's brought to you by our friends at Play Now.
The Play Now game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show, as well as the Illegal Curve hockey show, as well as illegalcurve.com. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support. We talked about the special teams for the Blackhawks as being maybe one of their only assets that they've had, and they showed them off early in the game. 9 minutes and 1 second into the first period, the Jets have taken their only penalty of the game. It's Rasmus Kupari for a puck over glass penalty, so not even a real infraction. It's more of a gimmicky penalty, but penalty nonetheless. And it's Alex Vlasic, who we talked about this morning on the Illegal Curve hockey show, is one of the more bright spots, one of the shining lights on a pretty bad back end for the Chicago Blackhawks. He gets his second of the year, assist to Teuvo Teravainen and Connor Bedard, who did in fact play in the game, even though he was relatively invisible for a lot of time. He gets the secondary assist here. Also have to give credit to a guy who's been pretty bad for the Blackhawks all year long, Tyler Bertuzzi. He's providing the screen in front of Connor Hellebuyck. You can see on the replay that Hellebuyck doesn't pick up the point shot until it's a little bit too late. He only gets a little piece of it, not the full glove to make the save. And the Blackhawks, they strike early, what they want to do in front of their new head coach, Anders Sorensen. They get the 1-0 lead about halfway through the first period, Dave.
Yeah, and, Drew, it's kind of an interesting situation. I mean, first of all, I don't know what the folks in the chat thought, but it was the most unusual, as he hates the delay of game penalty. And this one was really weird because it took forever for them to make the decision. Like, literally, I can't remember ever seeing one. I'm not saying it was the longest I've ever seen them take to make the decision, but they talked about it. Then they huddled. They talked a little more. They eventually got to the decision where Rasmus
Kupari flip the coin or not?
I didn't know what they were doing, to be honest with you. It was very unusual, but eventually they did make the Tracy's agreeing that delay of game penalty was awful. Discussed for how long, and it wasn't 100% clear, but call it anyways. So yeah, a bit of an unusual situation, but regardless, you still have to try and kill the penalty. And this is, one of those situations where the Jets, they allow Bertuzzi to have all that net in front. Like, I don't understand what Dylan DeMello and Logan Stanley are doing. And look, it's a bit of an unfortunate situation in the sense that, Alex Iafallo tries to, break up the play, right? So,
Mhm.
a bit fortunate for Chicago, but because like you said, not like I said, but he tries to break it up, gets it back, and then you've got nobody taking Bertuzzi out of the net, out of the eyes of Connor Hellebuck. And so I know on the broadcast Kevin was saying, well, maybe there's a little goalie interference, but unless there's contact, there's nothing. He can be at the edge and he's not making contact. But I don't know why Dylan DeMello and Logan Stanley are leaving him there unmolested. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because one of them has to clear the front of the net, and for both of them to kind of abandon the responsibility and really take nobody, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So you get the shot from the point, and it's a 1-0 game, but it just wasn't played particularly well by either Stanley or DeMello, in my mind.
No argument there. I mean, it's a good shot by Vlasic. He puts himself into a good position, walks the blue line, and is able to get it through. But you're right. I mean, you'd like to see it, especially when it's not deflected. I know it's screened, but when it's not deflected, you'd like to see it a little bit more, clearing of the traffic, as the saying goes. But the Jets, as we talked about, the maturity of the team, they don't blink at being down 1 goal to the Chicago Blackhawks team. And Gabe Vilardi is the one who ties it up. He's already got 11 goals. I mean, he's got a very quiet 11 goals, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, also because remember, Drew, he didn't score for how many, was it 7 games?
Something like that to start, yeah. But very quietly, just going about his business like he usually does. Is never the one who's going to get the headlines. Very effective here. You like everything that he does here. He gets the goal, but you also have to go back to where he starts it off from, which is by sealing off the boards. Nick Foligno has the puck on his stick for the Blackhawks, and it's just he just rings it around the boards. There's really not a ton of pressure on him immediately, but he just doesn't really do anything effective. He just sort of tries to shovel it up the boards. Gabe Vilardi's there to pinch it off. He moves the puck around. He moves it to Kyle Connor. Then Connor gets it over, gets a little bit of open ice and then puts it back towards Stanley. And Gabe Vilardi is in front of, is it still Mrazek at this point in time? No, it's Soderblom.
No, it's Soderblom.
Mrazek has left the game with that lower body injury. So, Soderblom comes in. Vilardi is there to get the tip on him. Connor Murphy doesn't tie up Vilardi at all. It's just the Blackhawks are a bad hockey team, and you sort of saw the poor performance of it, in this one. Just unforced errors is what I would say, and then compounded by defenders not doing a good enough job in preventing their responsibility from getting their stick on the puck.
Yeah, and what you like so much about this is going back to that. I don't want to be one of those guys who just picks a word and then uses it throughout the course of a broadcast. But that's
my shtick.
I know. I was going to say that's usually your shtick, Drew. But to me, this was the relentlessness of the first line, because Kyle Connor is aggressive in his forecheck, and he creates a little bit of a rush, right? Because of his speed, he's able to get in deep quickly. And the defenseman is, I think it was Murphy, like you said, is quick to put the puck over to Foligno. Foligno didn't really need to get rid of it that quick because he didn't have any real pressure there.
Right.
And credit Logan Stanley, jumps on and just fires the puck into, knows Gabriel Vilardi's there, knows how good Vilardi is at tipping those pucks. So he's able to, just put it on net with Vilardi creating that sort of opportunity, and he tips it home. And credit Vilardi along the wall, because he also created a little bit of havoc to free up the puck. So, before they scored that goal, I was watching. I was like, well, this is exactly how you want to see that first line cycling and attacking and creating pressure. And that's all they did throughout the course. They did it a number of times throughout this game, as we talked about already in our little preamble. But you like the fact that they were aggressive and they get rewarded. And they, one thing about this team, a 1-goal deficit, especially to the Chicago Blackhawks, is not going to cause them any sort of panic, if you will.
Yeah, and they're certainly not exactly. The maturity of the team is that they don't change their game. And good for Logan Stanley. Look, he's been receiving on the tail end of a lot of slings and arrows.
Especially from you.
So, especially from me. but he made he got the shot through. It was a tippable shot. He didn't try to do too much with it. He put it on net. Velarde made the key play, getting a stick on it. But, good for Logan Stanley, for a guy who's obviously, looking for something to build upon, to get some confidence some way or another. At least he gets on the assist here. He gets his third assist of the season. So good for him. I wanted to make mention of that because he did something well here. And so it would be rude of us to not acknowledge when he does something.
Not me.
The Blackhawks get right back the lead. They get it back 6 minutes and 16 seconds later, Dave. Mm-hmm. It is Alec Martinez, his first of this season, assisted Ilya Mikheyev and Jason Dickinson. And this one was not particularly well played by a number of Winnipeg Jets in this one. Kyle Connor is
brutal.
A little bit lost in no man's land. He just overcommits. Like, he's hard on the back check, which you like, but he loses sort of position of where he needs to be, overcommits. Scheifele not really as hard on the back check as you would like. And so Martinez comes in, real nice shot. He picks a corner and he beats Connor Hellebuck with it. But at this stage of the period, with 13 seconds to go, here, take your shots, folks. Time for a drink. The attention to detail needs to be better by both Connor and I would say Mark Scheifele in this goal, that they're just a little bit lacking in what you need to do in this instance to give the Blackhawks the lead 2-1 after 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Scheifele and Velarde are both caught deep in the Hawks end, and so they're trying to get back into the play. But I think Scheifele is not killing himself because at that point the numbers are even. The Jets actually had the numbers, so you're not overly concerned. The problem was Kyle Connor didn't play it particularly well, so he ends up, as you said, Drew, in no man's land. So you're like wondering, well, what's going on here? Because he skated back fast enough to get there, but he just he put himself in between two guys. So Dylan DeMello, like I said, they start this off. It's actually 3-on-2 in favor of the Jets, but then Connor should have had Martinez earlier, because if he shoulder checks, knowing that the numbers are fine, he can see Martinez coming in and at least take him out of the play. Because he doesn't, he allows it to create that opportunity. Dylan DeMello too, though, because Dylan DeMello goes to the shooter, and like I said, you've got Morrissey who's up with Mikheyev, but it's also not a good goal on Connor Hellebuck. I mean, you can't. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, Connor Hellebuck, trust me, I laud Connor Hellebuck when he does Connor Hellebuck things.
Yeah. But
it wasn't tipped. It wasn't redirected.
Fair.
It beat him from 25 feet out. I just don't think it's a particularly good goal on him. And I just thought that Kyle Connor played it poorly. And so it was kind of it was just an unfortunate situation because the Jets had started to kind of pick it up. But you're down 2-1 because of, like I said, that's that idea though, Drew. I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to have those sorts of, as good as the first line played as well, as the third line, the Lowry line, whatever you want to call them, line played. You want to make sure that those are minimized, because good teams, like the Hawks, aren't a good team.
Right.
So when mistakes happen like that and you get burnt by it, you're like, oh, well, whatever. But good teams will burn you more often than the Hawks do. The Jets just lucky that they're playing a bad team.
They certainly are playing a bad team, but 2-1 for the bad team after 20 minutes. And so the Jets need to clean some things up, and really they take control of the game from this point on. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more competitive to start the second period, but the Jets, as we've talked about in the preamble before we got into the Play Now game recap here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, the Jets just decided, look, you guys, we're done toying with you. We've given you the 2-1 lead. You feel good for 20 minutes. Your coach is probably happy with you. Well, you're going to see why you got your first coach fired from here on out. And that's exactly what happened at that point in time. And it felt like it was only a matter of time until the Jets get the equalizer.
Well, hold on, Drew.
Yes.
Before you talk about the equalizer, we got to talk about Brad Lambert
missing his first NHL goal. Something he's going to go back in time when he's an older feller and he's got some grandkids, gathered around him as he's telling his stories about playing in the NHL. And he's going to talk about all the goals, and he's going to talk about all the great goals that he's had in his career. But hopefully there's some smart aleck in his family who says, yeah, but what about the easy one you missed before you got the first one? Because this was a wide open net that he just managed to shoot wide. That should have tied the game at that point in time.
Well, I just saw TH Power say something about Hellebuck. 98 times out of 100, he makes that save. And similarly, in that way of thinking, I had tweeted earlier saying like 9 times out of 10, which actually is only 90%, but still probably 99 times out of 100, Brad Lambert puts that into the empty net. So real nice play by Vlad Nemestikov to give him that puck and free him up. And yeah, it's just unfortunate because, like I said, it would have been a nice way for Lambert to get on the board. And I thought he had been skating well and creating some things with his speed and looking more comfortable, which is something, of course, that we've been watching to see how he does now as he's getting more and more ice time and more responsibility with the Winnipeg Jets in everyday action. But yeah, that would have been a nice way for him to get off the schneid and get started. But he doesn't do it. And of course, it's only a few games into his NHL career, so it's not the end of the world. But like I said, it's just funny because he's such a good shooter, and that one is, his eyes must have been wide open when he saw how much open net he had, and then he puts it wide. And I was trying to figure out if he had scored on Soderblom before in the AHL, but too busy. I didn't get a chance to look it up, but I'm sure there's a chance.
Look it up, and you can tell us tomorrow if it happened when they on tomorrow's post game show after the Jets. And
El Cheverino's welcoming us from Kuala Lumpur. Hello, El Cheverino.
Yeah. He always enjoys, always joins us, a regular viewer here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So 2-1 after 20 minutes. Should have been 2-2. Lambert missed that one, and I'm sure he's hearing it from the boys a little bit in the room and on the flight back to Winnipeg tonight. But the Jets do tie it up at the 13-10 mark of that second period, just continuing to grind. And it's Nino Niederreiter. He gets his 10th of the year, double digits in goals for Niederreiter, as we have come to expect. Mason Appleton and Hayden Fleury with the assists. It ties the game. It also gets this distinction and honor.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Yes, Nino Niederreiter earns the Seagram's shot of the game for his goal to tie the game up at 2 goals apiece. Big thanks to Seagram's. It is Saturday night, so nobody would fault any of you if you have a beverage or two. Again, responsibly. That's the important part. No excuse for it to not be responsibly. May we recommend Seagram's VO Integrity, tradition, and craftsmanship, available at your fine liquor emporiums wherever you may be listening. That's right, liquor emporiums, Dave. Niederreiter just too big and too strong for the Blackhawks to handle on this one. Too determined as well. And, the Jets didn't want to go through 40 minutes still trailing by a goal, especially how they had controlled the second half of that period. So Nino Niederreiter takes it upon himself. Appleton walks in, shoots it wide off of Soderblom, or Hayden Fleury sends it behind the net, and then Appleton gets it out to Niederreiter, and he walks in, and there's not a lot of space there. This is a very skilled backhand to beat Soderblom to tie it up at 2 goals apiece.
By the way, I forgot, and I don't want to besmirch this individual, but Gabriel Velarde, when he scored that goal, Drew, he tied Chris Thorburn on the all-time points list. So in case anybody was wanting that little bit of potpourri, I'm just going to hit you with it late.
The original Greek freak.
Greek god, actually, was his name back in the Atlanta Thrasher days on a line. Do you remember who was on that line?
No, I don't.
Well, Jim Slater was. And, oh, God, I should know. Anyone? Come on, let's go chat. Who was on the Greek god line? You're not talking
about the GST line, obviously.
No. Obviously not. That we know the GST line, of course. But who was on the Greek god line? Anyone?
No, somebody.
It's such an obvious name too, and it's gonna bug me. And well, I'm sure someone in the chat will remember. But it was Slater, Thorburn, and no, it wasn't Tanev. Sorry, Dom.
No, we're not talking about the GS.
It wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was. It was
not that Tanev was on that either, for that matter. You'll figure it out after. Just keep talking about the goal instead.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Well, maybe Nino Niederreiter wants to be a member of the Greek God line, but
he's
yeah,
Swiss.
you're right. No, I know. Well, you never know. Maybe he's got some Swiss. Maybe he's got some Greek. I like that I love that everybody's guessing now. Come on, Drew, look it up while I'm going over the goal. Oh, Eric Bolton. Thank you, Bob Coles, your uncle, Eric Bolton. There we go. No, Tanner Glass, member of the GST line, Dietermeister, not the Greek God line. But thank you, Eric Bolton.
Did you just call him Niedermeister? It's
Who?
Dietermeister and Niederreiter. You can combine the two.
No, I said Dietermeister.
I thought you said Niedermeister.
No, I said Dietermeister. Now you got me confused, but I'm pretty sure I did. Although last time I said I said Cornelius, and someone in the chat said I didn't say that. So I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Luke, Luck, whatever. Either or. Let's talk about the goal. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Anyways, Nino Niederreiter gets his 10th, and look, it's not insignificant. We talked through, and we've made this point a lot, but we'll make it again. The importance of the Jets getting goal scoring from the Lowry line is significant, especially when it's kind of like a de facto second line.
Right.
And so if that's the case, you needed them to produce. And, obviously Mason Appleton, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but he went, I think 17 games without a goal before the empty netter. He had some chances, obviously hit the post in today's game.
That was a rifle of a shot that
it was, but you've got those guys producing. And so Nino Niederreiter with his 10th goal, that's a 30 goal pace or just under 29 goal pace in a full season. And so that's significant. And you're right. It's an absolutely spectacular goal. I mean, it's real nice. It's a nice movement by the Jets.
Yeah.
And it's a nice reward for, again, like I said, I thought the Scheifele line was very good. Again, there were some hiccups, but I also thought the Lowry line was also very good. And there were a couple of, earlier in the game, Lowry, demolished Taylor Hall where they hit. Like he was imposing his will physically. I mean, he caused, I think, the injury to Mrazek because he was hard on a puck. And then Mrazek, when he came around, I thought it was an equipment issue. I thought it was just going to be a quick change, but Soderblom came in and then was in for the rest of the night. And the Hawks announced that Mrazek wouldn't be returning.
Yeah.
Which, further to our conversation with Charlie on this morning's Legal Curve Hockey show, they've got Lauren Brossoit out. Now they've got Peter Mrazek out, which means Arvid Soderblom is your forget about having to worry about what you're going to do. Remember, he was like, well, maybe they won't play him that much because it's only 3 more games before he's no longer waiver exempt. Well, unfortunately for Chicago, it looks like they're going to have to play him, depending on obviously the situation with
Mrazek's health status.
But anyways, the point is that you like to see that this line gets rewarded because it's one thing to play well and know that you're playing well, but everybody wants to contribute. And so Nino Niederreiter gets a real nice goal off a nice shift. Mason Appleton has a piece of it. Hayden Fleury, that's his 5th assist with the team. So you like that pushback from Winnipeg. And like you said, and I'll quickly finish this thought, but the second period was all the Jets. In fact, Soderblom deserves credit because I'm not saying, like you said, there weren't a ton of high danger chances in that period, but the Jets had the possession, for 70-80% of the time in the latter half of the second period. And, they were lucky. The Hawks were lucky that it was only a 2-2 game.
Exactly right. And you mentioned how effective the Lowry line was tonight. Scott, this is courtesy of our buddy Dan Robertson. Apparently Scott Arneal said on the regarding the play of the Adam Lowry line today, quote, they could have had 5 goals, which tells you just how dominant they were against their opponents, the Chicago Blackhawks, and that they were. I mean, you just look at the let me look at the advanced stats here for that line if I can find them really quick. 63% possession, which is actually lower than I would have thought. The best possession line for the Jets, that played significant minutes at 5-on-5 was Lambert, Nemesnikov, and Perfetti. They were up close to 85% of the possession.
Wow.
Which tells you just how good that line again was tonight in a game that the Jets really did control top to bottom. 2-2 after 40 minutes, so that goal is a big one. The Jets opened the third period very much like they played the second period, in controlling the pace of play, controlling the flow of play, controlling the puck, making the Blackhawks chase, and then chase some more. They get very close to taking the lead off that Mason Appleton shot, which was just an absolute bullet of a shot that caught iron and straight out. You know that he's a little snake bit as of late. Hopefully the empty netter, again, spoiler alert, opens things up for him. but the Jets eventually do take the lead at the 10:18 mark of the third period. It's off of a face-off. Shifley wins the draw, which is obviously great to see that he's back healthy. Goes to Kyle Connor. Connor sends it across. Gabe Velarde is causing havoc in front. Shifley is there to tap in the rebound, the loose puck past Soderblom. No chance for him. Again, just poor playing by the Blackhawks, losing track of guys you just cannot lose track of. Losing track of the most dangerous guys in this situation. Connor Murphy, as was highlighted on the broadcast, he's a step late, a step behind, needing to be where he is, and Shifley is not going to miss from that in-close opportunity. He puts it behind Soderblom. The Jets have the lead for the first time in tonight's game in the back half of the third period now.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say from Winnipeg's perspective, at least my observation of Winnipeg, was that there was never any panic in their game.
None.
Really, they never, even though they chased it, they were never really ever feeling like it was out of it. And Kyle Connor's not shooting that to score, but it's just a nice play. And you're right, Mark Shifley, it's about creating some time and space for himself. He does, as you said, Drew, the Connor Murphy looks at him and then just leaves him. And I don't know how you leave a guy who can score that well. That maybe he thought the rumors of Mark Shifley's injury were more significant than they were, but it's further to our conversation that we had with Mike McIntyre on this morning show. Again, if you didn't listen to the show, make sure you download it after, because tomorrow even though there's a game tomorrow, won't be any real media stuff. So if you need something to listen to, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show from this morning, 2 hours of listening pleasure. But from Mark Shifley just clearly looks back, and I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm kind of shocked, to be honest with you, because it really does seem
I don't disagree with you. It is sort of odd. We talked about it, I think, on, I don't know if it was Thursday's post-game show, they begin to blend together, but I thought he was going to need some time off the ice, like the Christmas break or the few days, just a few days off. I thought he was going to need something like that, but whatever it was, maybe it was something viral. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't an injury and it was an illness, and now he's feeling better as a result. I mean, hard to believe that would be the issue, but I am as equally surprised as you are, Dave, that, whatever was ailing Shifley seems to not be ailing him anymore. And he looks like he's back to being the Mark Shifley of, relatively peak effectiveness.
And sorry, one bird is called me out, and that's true. Of course, WST tomorrow at 9:00. You can listen to them. So I'm not saying that there's nothing to listen to.
Right.
But I mean, of course, if you want to read Connor Rabchak's next day thoughts, you can, of course, go to a little site called legalcurve.com. So, Connor Rabchak's my boy. I brought him along. I'm never going to, throw him under the bus.
Yeah, it's true. He calls Dave dad all the time now. It's really awkward.
It's only because that's in his contract. I said, you have to call me dad for some reason. So anywho, the fact is, though, that Mark Shifley is, again, I'm not going to say he's 100% back to where he was, but the face-off Mark Shifley looks good. Because even on that play, they're locked in, and then he creates that opportunity for himself. And it's just a poor switch by Murphy, and Mark Shifley's too smart a player to see that sort of opportunity. Kyle Connor, that's the beauty of the chemistry between these guys, is that they know. Kyle Connor, like I said, he's not shooting. I mean, obviously, if he shoots and it goes in off a skate, he's not going to say, no, please don't give me that goal. But he's shooting because he knows where Shifley is, and he knows he can create, hopefully, in his mind, a rebound, which is exactly what he does. Mark Shifley has 14 goals, and the Jets have a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, exactly right. 3-2 at that point in time for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, I think after this point in time, maybe the Blackhawks had one opportunity. Was that, I think, Pat Maroon? Maybe there was a loose puck near Connor Hellebuyck. There was a little bit of
that one where they kind of circled behind the net. There was
a little bit of a goal-mouth scramble there.
Yeah.
That was about it for that point in time. Then the Blackhawks, it just goes to show what's happening with the Blackhawks. I mean, we don't really break down empty net goals, but they gain the zone 6-on-5. Tyler Bertuzzi goes to ring it around the boards to the other side, and it manages to miss both Mikheyev, and it also manages to miss Ryan Donato, and Mason Appleton just jumps on it. Bertuzzi clears his own zone, or clears the Jets zone with the ring around, and Appleton goes and gets the puck, and he gets gets on his horse and he ends up tucking it into the empty net as the Blackhawks are in a significant chase position at this point, and they're not able to get the puck off of Appleton's stick before the Jets can score to tie it, to make it a 4-2 victory. Just a very tidy effort by the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe started a little bit slower than anybody would have wanted, but they end the road trip with 2 wins. They head home, probably getting close to already being up in the air, as they'll face the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow afternoon to look. By the way, 2 in a row is not a streak. 3 in a row is. So they look to get a winning streak going if they can defeat the Blue Jackets tomorrow afternoon in downtown Winnipeg. It's tomorrow evening. Post-game show right around 7:30, 7:40 p.m. tomorrow. So you can look forward to Dave and yours truly being back on another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We'll head to break. When we come back, a little bit more on the Jets and the Blackhawks. Talk briefly about the Jets and the Blue Jackets tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you. It is a Saturday evening edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on a Saturday night talking about the Jets' 4-2 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Insult to injury for the Blackhawks. This courtesy Ben Pope of the Chicago Sun-Times. Mrazek will be out, quote, for a little bit after suffering what looked like a lower body injury. And Andrew Sorensen, the new head coach for the Blackhawks, also said that Alec Martinez will also miss some time. So you lose.
He took the Lowry shot off the face.
Yeah, wrote up his puck, and he ate the puck, which is not something that is tasty to eat at that point in time. So a bit of an insult to injury for the Chicago Blackhawks as they nurse their wounds, lick their wounds, falling to the Winnipeg Jets in tonight's contest by a 4-2 margin. Outshot, doubled in terms of outshot, 29 shots for the Jets, less than 30 but at least it's not less than 15, as the Blackhawks only put up 14 shots in the course of tonight's game. Quickly, about tomorrow afternoon, the Jets and the Blue Jackets are going to face off against each other, Dave. I wanted to highlight this one from Brendan Matheson earlier on the post-game show. It's not game analysis, it's true, but I thought it'd be worth it for a brief conversation.
Sure.
You think the Jets could use some of their healthy scratches tomorrow? Get some fresh legs on the ice, second half of a back-to-back, 3rd and 4 nights. Blue Jackets, not the best team that's come through here, but I think better than the better than the Blackhawks. Do you think that there's a possibility of seeing, maybe either a Colin Miller or a Dylan Coghlan or a David Gustafson tomorrow when the Jets and the Blue Jackets do battle?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is the reason why you have extra players. What's the purpose of burning through guys? You've just finished off this exhaustive, as Mike McIntyre detailed, trip around North America. So why not use David Gustafson? Why not use Dylan Coghlan? Why not use Colin Miller? To me, that's the reason why you would do a wholesale change. I think it makes plenty of sense, to be honest with you. I mean, I get that, especially given the fact that Villanola and Logan Stanley, it's not like they've played so much of the season, right? Both guys have dealt with injury. So is it an opportunity to give these guys a couple of days off, get their legs, and then you can, right back at it. And you got a tough game against the Boston Bruins on Tuesday night. Yeah. So,
and then you got Vegas on Thursday, and then you got Montreal on Saturday. So, I mean,
right.
So the homestand is sort of bookended by your easier, quote unquote, or your weaker opponents. Sunday against Columbus, and then next Saturday against the Habs.
Yeah,
but it's. I thought it's food for thought. I wouldn't be shocked to see it. No. And we're both expecting Eric Comrie, even though Connor Hellebuyck could have played today's game in a hammock for the most part. We'd still expect to see Eric Comrie in net for the Jets tomorrow.
Yeah, no, for sure we do. And then, we'll have to wait to see what warm up brings. The game's 5:00 tomorrow.
5:00, yeah.
Yeah, so 4:30, we'll have everything updated on a site called legalcurve.com. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But unless Scott Arniel gives Kenny Weeb a little reveal in his post game presser, my suspicion is we will not find out till tomorrow afternoon.
I would suspect you are probably correct. But of course, all the post-game coverage, all the post-game information is available on illegalcurve.com. That'll also be where all your latest Manitoba Moose news is going to be. They're in action against the Belleville Senators.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say anything, or are you recording the game?
No. I mean, I know I'm watching. I've got it on my phone.
Okay, so the Moose lead 1-0. Kevin Conley has opened the scoring for the Manitoba Moose. They lead the Belleville Senators 1-0 early on in the game in downtown.
And I'm not going to do any sort of analysis because I've not been paying attention to the game. Obviously, I've been doing this show, so I can't pretend. But I will go back, obviously, and watch. The one things that are noteworthy that I think Jets fans will be interested in is twofold. One, Chaz Lucius is playing in a back-to-back. Remember, we said this morning on the show, we'll have to pay attention to see if he is. That's a real good sign for the Jets and the Jets prospect. And conversely, bad news, Elias Salamonson not available in tonight's game. I don't know when he's going to be back. It looked like a bad injury.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not there, so I won't be able to ask Mark Morrison. They'll be off tomorrow. But presumably I will have either, depending on, of course, the Jets and Moose schedule, I'll see what I can do. But hopefully there's going to be time for me to get in and do a little media availability with the Moose to find out what exactly is his status in the short term and in the long term.
Yeah, there you go. So exactly right. All the latest will be on illegalcurve.com. So stay tuned to that great website for all your latest Winnipeg Jets, Manitoba Moose, prospect news. Everything to do with hockey in Manitoba is available on illegalcurve.com. A very busy Saturday for us as we've done double duty. We'll be back at it tomorrow night. So in about, let's say 25 hours, maybe 25 and a half hours, be back to join us for another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We'll sleep when we're dead is, I think, what the is the lesson of the current schedule, but that's okay. Big thanks to all of you for joining us. Big thanks to you for joining us this morning and again on the post-game show. And a big thanks to our sponsors, who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, the website a possibility. That's our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Chris Griffin, a few tickets left for tonight's 9:45 show. Not many, but if you're looking for something to do to celebrate the Jets' victory, rumorscomedyclub.com.
I have a question. Does Chris Griffin, does he ever play on Chris Griffin?
No, he doesn't. No, he's heard it all.
Does he not? No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting that I am introducing a topic that he's never heard before.
Oh, okay.
But does he use any of the Family Guy shtick in his act at all? Does he ever mention it? Really, you'd think it'd be something of note. You'd think again, I'm sure he's heard it a million times before.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's a hook.
What was the name of the serial killer that Elaine was dating on Seinfeld? Remember,
like Ted Bundy, like Son of Sam?
No, remember she's dating a guy who's got the same name as the serial killer.
Oh, and she wanted him to change it. Yeah. Todd. Wait, change your name to Todd. Oh man, what was his name though?
I don't remember what his name was, but
come on, chat, let us know.
I'm pretty sure Chris has heard more than enough Family Guy references over his time. Anyways, if you're looking for something to do there, playnow.com. Playnow is, of course, the title sponsor of all of our programming.
Joel Rifkin.
Thank you, it's your boy Bruce. You're a good man.
And see, I had to look it up. These guys, and I my Seinfeld knowledge is usually fantastic, but well done to the chat.
Good job, chat. Boston Pizza City Place. We'll be at City Place on Tuesday for the lunch hour. Remember that we will be there as well. So if you're in the downtown area, downtown neighborhood, come to City Place on Tuesday for a special edition of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show at 12 noon. And of course, Seagram's. They encourage you to drink their products, but drink them responsibly. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. That's it for Dave and yours truly. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Whatever you're going to do it safe. We'll see you back here tomorrow night at 7:40 p.m. Until then, for Dave Minuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show. We wish you good night and good luck.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.